Conversation. That's the key
right,
word.
Conversation with you.
I gotcha.
Welcome to Conversations with Kay. I'm Kay Ryder. And every week I talk with Vermonters who are leaders in the fields of government, healthcare, education, the arts, and community life. And welcome to our radio listeners, 99.3 FM, WVBVT LP. Our guests are Natalie Neuert and Rebecca Stone from the UVM Lane series. And Natalie is the director and Rebecca is the manager. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Glad to have you. Now, where are the Lane series concerts held?
Well, they are held primarily at the UVM Recital Hall, which is on the Redstone campus at the university. We do have a couple of other concerts down at the Flynn Center, and we're doing one at Ira Allen Chapel this year, and also one at the Dudley Davis Center.
Good. Well, that's good. Spread the wealth and the cheer and all that good stuff. Yeah. Now, and you do have a lot of cheer to spread. I know that. You have great series planned here, and you have brought some excerpts from some of your coming shows, Natalie. So let's go there. I believe the first one is the Jeremiahs.
Yeah, let's play the Jeremiahs. And then we can talk about them.
Right. Absolutely. The Celtic group.
At 20 past noon, at the foot of the hills, at the tail end of June, two boys in the backseat put legs on a tune that they'd play down in Barrow tonight 'neath the moon. To town, two boys in the backseat, crafting the sound that they play there tonight 'neath the moonlight.
I love Celtic music, and this is an Irish group.
Yeah, two or three of the members are Irish. There's actually someone from northern France, the violin player. But it's, it's certainly a Celtic sound.
Absolutely.
And actually, arguably, the music of northern France is Celtic music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they play a kind of chamber format. It's very intimate, very personal. It's not raucous particularly. it's more thoughtful, I would say, Irish music. Mm-hmm. And I really love the vocalist.
He has a wonderful voice. Marvelous quality.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a kind of voice you associate with like an Irish male singer. I think they have a singing tradition, and I love the look of it's timeless. He could be someone from the 19th century, and so I'm excited. It's a great group. Our audience will love it.
Where did you discover them?
They were, their agent is an agent we work with for international music quite a bit, and they were at the Folk Alliance conference, which I like to go to, and thought they'd be perfect.
Great. Now the next person we're going to hear, Dom Lanena, she is singing her own music, is that correct?
She writes most of her own music. This clip is actually not her own. It's by the great Chilean protest singer Violeta Parra. So this is a song that people might recognize. Joan Baez did a recording of this song, so it's slightly familiar to people, perhaps. Yeah. And obviously she's singing in Spanish. She sings in quite a few languages.
Okay, well, let's hear this.
Yeah. Okay.
Que me ha dado tanto, me dio dos luceros, que cuando los abro, perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco, y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado y en las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el oído que en todo su ancho graba noche y día, grillos y canarios, ladridos, turbinas, martirios, chubascos y la voz tan tierna de mi bien amado. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario con las palabras que pienso y declaro, madre, amigo, hermano, y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma del que estoy amando.
Well, she certainly has a breathy tone when she sings.
Yeah, she started her career very young, and her name is actually a stage name that means Dom the Baby. She was on tour with Jane Birkin, the French singer and personality whom the most expensive pocketbook in the world is named after, the Birkin bag. If anyone has a Birkin bag, they know this. Anyway, she started a tour with Jane Birkin, and Jane Birkin is... she started as the cellist for Jane Birkin, and Jane Birkin sings in that breathy quality, and I think Dom sort of picked that up as an influence. There's many interesting things about her. She's very, very warm and sweet on stage. She's still only about 23 years old. She's a fine cellist, which is her primary instrument, but you'll notice in the clip she has a drum kit, and she also plays guitar and ukulele. So she weaves other instruments through her performance, and she also uses a looping pedal, so she sort of builds layers of sound. She's a little bit of a one-man band. It's very, very sweet quality and very original and lots of fun.
Great, great. Well, and you have a string quartet coming.
Well, we have much chamber
Lots
music.
of string quartets coming.
Yes.
The Magliani
Yes.
string quartet. They have been together for over 15 years. Now, you said something about their distinctive sound. A string quartet has to have its own sound, doesn't it?
Well, it does. I mean, there's a lot of string quartets out there, right? So I think they do have a distinctive sound, and there are some sort of. Sometimes you can hear a European quartet versus an American quartet. This quartet definitely plays in more European classical style. They're French. It's very cohesive, very beautiful. Not super aggressive, I think, their style. I would consider it a kind of gentler style, although they can play aggressively when it's called for. Yeah, I really, really like them. You can hear each individual player very, very clearly in it.
Okay, well, let's hear the string quartet.
Okay.
I love it when you bring music. I'm talking with Natalie Neuert, who's the director of the UVM Lane Series, and Rebecca Stone, who's the manager of the UVM Lane Series. We have a piano at the Lane Series. You have a piano consortium, which helps bring these concerts, correct?
Yeah.
And you're going to have we have a duo piano, they're brothers. And a lot of Asian women play as duos, as sisters, but this is the first time I've ever heard of a brothers playing together. And they're from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Have you heard them play?
I did. I went down to Saratoga and heard them play Mozart with the Philadelphia Symphony last summer, and I knew right away I wanted to engage them. We were having some work done on one of our pianos from a very famous piano voicer in New York City, and he was funny. He came up, and one of the things he said to me was, you know, you're a member of a very exclusive club. And I said, well, what's that? And he said, well, you're a member of the club that has 2 9-foot concert grand pianos available to use on your stage. And he thought it was quite extraordinary for a 300-seat hall to have 2 pianos. So that sort of cemented for me the idea of doing this duo piano concert. So they'll play one half of the concert on one piano, 4 hands on one piano, which I think is what you'll see in the clip. And then they'll play the other half of the concert on the 2 pianos.
Okay.
So they do both. They're very talented. And I'll just add that they're kind of matinee idols in Europe. They've not toured here a lot, but people will see why in a moment. They're really fine musicians.
So we're going to listen to Lucas and Arthur Hewson.
Yes.
And now for a change of scenery, we're gonna have a little bluegrass.
Oh, yeah.
A group called Mipso.
Yeah. I saw them at Folk Alliance. They're fantastic band. They play in a bluegrass configuration, bluegrass style, but original music. So it's kind of folky, kind of clever lyrics. Every member of the band is a great singer as well as a great instrumentalist. So they have those sort of magical bluegrassy harmonies. And their music, I think, is just really addictive. Like, I listen to it all the time now. It's sort of on repeat on playlists for me, and my family loves them, and I feel like the audience is just going to have a great reaction to them. They're from the Chapel Hill area, and they're young. You know, they seem young, but they're sort of rising very rapidly.
Okay, well, here comes Mipso.
Yeah.
My daddy came from a different world. I knew enough when his lips curled. Nobody visits here anymore. I watched the faces for a long time, and I felt the boys into the water table line. I know there, but for the grace of God, it still feels good to curse the odds of knowing what to do. This old town, man, didn't start the war, he just limped home.
I'm also absolutely delighted that the Boston Camerata is coming back. That's one of my favorite groups. And now, Rebecca, it's your turn. I'm going. In your brochure, the Cats Meow, the UVM Women's a cappella group.
Yes. So this is actually the third year we're working with them, and it's student driven. So we had a student approach us 3 years ago wanting to maybe embark on this journey together because they needed a place to present and they wanted to get a little bit more help with the marketing and a bigger audience. So we gave it a test run that first year. We launched it maybe about a month before the performance. We sold around 600 tickets, and so we did it again last year. Of course, a new student had taken over, and we have a committee at the Lean Series that's been helping us, so everything from getting the marketing out there and helping promote the ticket sales, and then just working with the students to make sure they're fed and cared for and housed when they're here. So anyway, this year we actually just decided why not, we'll just go all in, and we put them in the brochure, and ticket sales are actually going very well so far.
That's good.
And just to add, it's so the Cats Meow, what they do, the ladies invite like 4 or 5 other collegiate a cappella groups from New England. So we've had groups from where? From Middlebury, Colgate, Dartmouth. So they invite these other groups, and so it's sort of a festival.
Great.
Right. So
Yeah.
we just get up there and do 4 or 5 songs, and the audience really gets into it.
Well, that kind of music takes me back to my collegiate years. We had men's a cappella groups, women's a cappella groups, and I'm glad there's still an audience for them.
It's really popular right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, Rebecca, you're the manager.
I am.
Yes, and what do you do specifically?
Well, we're a very small team, so I should say that we all wear all kinds of hats, but primarily my responsibilities fall in the financial management end of things, the marketing end of things. So the brochure is project managed by me, but of course, we both work on it.
We both write it.
Copywriting and then I help with development as well. So we work closely with the UVM Foundation and with our board members and that sort of thing. So those are my primary responsibilities.
How is the Lane Series funded, Rebecca?
So of course ticket sales, but we have an endowment that basically covers our salary end of things, and then we have a couple of other smaller endowments, and then we have business support, so that would be things like supporting our events and our concerts, and then individual contributions.
And then you have special support for the piano concerts and the chamber music concerts.
Yes. So the Piano Consortium has been around for a
Long time, yeah, maybe 12 years or so,
yeah. So those are people who really are interested in funding piano concerts. So we have usually 3, 4, 5, depending on the year, concerts that we designate specifically for Piano Consortium. And then we had a donor step up 2 years ago now who is very interested in a similar thing, but for chamber music. So we had a very successful fundraising campaign for that endowment and raised about $50,000 within 2 or 3 months. People keep contributing to that, so that pot is growing, and we pick 1 concert a year for that.
Okay, Natalie, in addition to listening to all these groups and bringing them, what do you do? You've planned 1 season, you start on the next one right away?
I have a little gap. I try to have a little gap. It doesn't always work because the agents sort of try to chase you down all the time. As a matter of fact, I got an email today from an agent bringing an artist in November to Montreal and wanted to know if we could bring them the night before. And I was like, no, the brochure's mailed. We can't bring someone in November. So yeah, I work about a year out for the most part. So I will start this coming fall to book the 2020-2021 season. So I'm working on programming the season from like September to January is generally what I'm doing there. And it's negotiating the fees and sort of working out the touring, which is pretty complicated, and then the parameters of what the artist gets when they're here. Do we house them? Do we feed them? What their sound backup is, what they need. You know, string quartet's really easy. They bring their instruments and they sit in the chairs and they play. But an artist like Dom Lanena, who's playing 4 or 5 instruments and looping, has complicated electronics. She's using a computer on stage. So, you know, it gets a lot more complicated and more expensive too. So Rebecca and I work together on the budgets. Can we do this? Can we charge enough for the tickets and figure all that out? So that's primarily what I do. But I also work on fundraising and copywriting and all sorts of different things. I mean, there's only 3 of us, and we really could all do each other's jobs. I mean, we run it that way.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking with Natalie Neuert, who's the director of the UVM Lane Series, and Rebecca Stone, who's the manager of the UVM Lane Series. Now, where would someone call to get information about your programs, your performances? And I know you have a great website.
We do. Thank you.
Rebecca creates the website, by the way. We don't job it out.
It's very good.
Yeah,
It's very good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So our direct line is 802-656-4455. We're very good about, if we're not able to get to the phone, of course, because there are only 3 of us, we do check messages regularly and are very good about getting back to people. And then, of course, the website. But that's really the best way, because we can answer all of the questions since we're intimately familiar with this.
I applaud you, because I know that you do answer telephone calls.
Yes.
I know that. So that's very good. A lot of people like to hear a live voice.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Nothing
no
more
question.
frustrating than pressing all the numbers and still getting machines.
Right.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah. I know that the recital hall has great acoustics, and I also know that you're going to renovate the recital hall. So I'd like to have you tell our audience a bit about what's going to happen.
Well, I'll say, first of all, that the recital has great acoustics for unamplified music. So for chamber music, for solo piano, for the human voice unamplified. It's a beautiful, beautiful hall for those things. It is problematic for other music forms. It's problematic for jazz, it's problematic for pop music, it's problematic for even forms of folk and world music. And part of that is because it's extremely lively in the lower registers. So like there's too much vibration in the hall, which makes chamber music sound great, but it's problematic for amplified music. So what we're doing is we're putting in a removable system. It's soft goods, it's curtains that will be on an electrical motor, and when we're doing chamber music, they'll be completely retracted into a valance. They're not even hanging down a little. They disappear into the ceiling, basically. It's a state-of-the-art system. When we do jazz or folk or world music, anything that has a drum kit or bass, those curtains can come down. They may come down halfway. We may send them down all the way. Very flexible. And we have really the best theatrical acoustic company, one of the best in the country, working on this. They just did Oberlin's Hall, and we're really we feel really confident.
The changes will be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I know that you're going to get new seats too, and I think that's good.
Well, new refurbished seats.
I like that. I like that idea. That's
Yeah.
really a good idea.
Yeah.
Actually, the interesting story is that the gentleman who put the seats in when the hall was built is still around, and so he's redoing them.
That's
for
good.
us.
Yeah, so they were put in 1974, so only in Vermont, right? Do you have the guy who did it in 74 still doing it?
That's marvelous.
Yeah.
Now, I have read various places that the audience for classical music is dwindling. The Lane Series is not having this happen, I guess.
Well, I mean, I would say that for as long as I've been in this business in general, that's always been the word, that the classical audience is dwindling. I would say we have seen more students in the last couple of years, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're now in the Department of Music and Dance, soon to be just Department of Music. And so that has really helped. So we see a lot more of that, and I think they're bringing their friends, and so that's been a big boon for us. I think the only thing is that a lot of times the older audience tends to disappear between October and February. So
Snowbirds.
Exactly. So
Year
that can
one,
be a little tough, but we have our regulars and they're always there. And actually our ticket sales for those shows this year are going very well. So we think people are pretty excited about it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and people will certainly come out for a name. You know, we have Jeremy Dank, the pianist, playing Bach in the spring, and, you know, that will sell out. It's an incredible opportunity to hear one of the great pianists and the greatest American pianists performing.
Right.
So, you know, the more well-known the classical artist is, the bigger the sales are.
Okay. Quick question. Do you go to all the Lane Series performances?
Just about.
Yeah, I really try to go to all of them, but occasionally a conference will keep me away. Yeah.
So that would be the only instance. Where
That's good.
But there's always one of the three of us is always there.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
usually
Answer
two.
questions, help the audience, and all that. All that. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How can we get more people to go to classical music?
Well, I mean, we talk about this all the time. I think there's a couple of things. I think it's a responsibility of the people who love chamber music to pass on that love. I mean, we can do our part by presenting relevant, exciting, younger, fantastic ensembles, no question, with great programs. We can absolutely do that. That's our job. But I do think, you know, the audience has a job too, which is to not just support by coming up themselves, but to transfer that love, you know, to the next generation.
Right.
I mean, I love classical music because my father listened to classical music.
Yeah.
No question. That's what was on in the house,
Yep.
you know. So I do think that's an important thing that people need to think about. And if they want to bring a young person, call us. We'll make a ticket available for $5 for that young person.
That sounds wonderful.
And that is something to be said too, because we list it as a student price, but really that's students of all ages. So.
Yeah, you should put a little line on that, you know,
Yeah.
on your marketing or whatever. That would be very good.
Yeah.
What do you know, our world is noisy. You know, this is quiet in here, it's great. But you know, it's getting noisier, and all of our phones and everything, they're like umbilical cords. We're just, you know, right there all the time. What do you like the most about just listening to live performances? Now, we don't have a lot of time here, so.
Okay. I appreciate being able to go in there and stop thinking about everything else that's been happening. You know, it's a busy week, and the day that we do our show, it's an incredibly busy day. So it's just really nice to be able to sit down, put your phones away, and
Natalie?
Well, I just agree. I mean, I totally agree with Rebecca. It's like it's a respite. You know, it's a place where our brains can just process this beautiful music and not worry about a million other things.
Yep.
If we can disengage.
Right. Well, I hope your audience disengages and has a wonderful time. Thank you for coming.
Thank
Thank
you
you for joining us on
Thanks.
Conversations with Kay.